Hello, YouTube. So recently I went to shoot a film in Ukraine, and this is what I learned, and this is what I think lessons came out of it as a filmmaker, and how we might be able to apply those lessons to our own filmmaking careers. So let's go.
I'm going to shoot something really big.
As you can see, I'm not chewing the furniture or going into filmmaking version of fire and brimstone preaching here. Having just returned from Ukraine, there are still a lot of lingering things that I need to resolve for myself. Things I saw, things that I felt, things that I went through. But at the end of the day, I'm just there to be a witness. Some of the lessons I learned that have sort of cemented into me since being there are what I want to pass on to you. It's really difficult for me to live in the comfort that I live in and start saying how I felt. But I will tell you there were, profound moments that will affect me for the rest of my life. There are some key takeaways from this experience that I think as filmmakers, I'm hoping to just pass on what I learned, because creating motion pictures in such an extreme environment makes you rely on certain things, but it also makes you keenly aware of what's coming in. So, I think the first thing that I would say that I learned is that human beings have an endless capacity for resilience. A more profound example of that was I met a 10-year-old kid who was running around with this pack of other kids whose mother was just pulled out of a mass grave and given a proper burial, and whose father most likely died on the front fighting the Russians. And so he was wandering the streets with, I assume, a pack of kids that had been through similar things. But one of the things I will say is that kid fought to stay alive and to find normalcy in an otherwise completely disjointed situation. The best thing I could do for him was give him crappy food from our van. I knew that kid was going to eat today, but I didn't know what that kid was going to do tomorrow. But I had this feeling this kid would be okay, that someone is going to find him. We reported him to the authorities. I think that there was enough of an infrastructure to be able to take him in, but he wanted to let everybody know that he was going to be okay. And so I watched this kid fight for dignity and for survival and to create a bit of normalcy for himself, which was this group of friends that he had created, this little tribe he had created. So how does that fit into our filmmaking career? I realize filmmaking is super, super important, that it has such a big place in helping other people. We have this ability as filmmakers and storytellers to help people make sense out of chaos or sense out of very difficult, complex ideas. If anything, we do that very, very well. I think what we can take out of this is that you find your tribe and you find the people that are your allies and you find the people that are going to help, and you find out what you can contribute to that situation. And so when we tell stories that have weight and that have purpose and that we're having impact, even if that's comedy has a tremendous amount of impact, then we have to understand that we're going to have to be resilient in that moment. We're going to have to be surfing the wave we're on, not the one we wish we had. And out of that kid, I learned that I can take anything. Next, filming in a war zone drives you into the moment. The only thing that exists is this moment, and things get very, very, very simple. Am I putting somebody else in danger by trying to take this shot? Am I putting myself needlessly in danger by getting this shot? Is this shot going to help change this situation or to help the world understand this situation? Now, I am not saying everybody needs to shoot in a war zone. If you're shooting a drama, about divorce, or you're shooting a drama about mental health, or a comedy about mental health. Is this moment that I'm creating here and that I'm capturing, is that going to serve a purpose in this world? And is that going to help the people watching it see themselves and maybe get better if they're not feeling great, if they're not feeling like they understand something? Am I going to be able to contribute to the world? Is the film I'm making having an impact on people? So I think being in the moment and not worrying about what might happen in the future, or trying to play cosmic billiards about what might happen. The only time I could think about the future, is worry about the future and think about the past, was in this very moment that I was sitting in there. And so I stopped doing that, and things became very, very clear. It's just like I knew what action to take next. I knew where to put my feet. I knew where to stand. I knew what questions to ask people in these very chaotic environments. And I think one of the most profound things I learned from this was gratitude, was to celebrate the little victories. You know, I, as a filmmaker, make the mistake of confusing excitement for happiness, where it's these big moments and these big events that are the things that make me happy, like selling a film or something like that, or having, you know, a certain agent or executive call me. These little victories are happening all the time, and I can tell you, before I left for Ukraine and before I saw what I saw, I think I took a lot of that stuff for granted. I will tell you that those little victories were enough, and that I watched people who were going through this, who had more at stake than I did in this. These people were so grateful for everything, and then they turned that gratitude into generosity. What little they had, they gave away. And when things are, am I gonna live through the day, and is this action I'm taking gonna help me live through the day in this very moment, because I only have the next 5 minutes to think about? It gets dog simple. And I think if we can keep it that way, if we can strip it down to its bare essential, and that us making films in the United States is not life or death, but it can help somebody, and that we can be generous with our information to other filmmakers. We can be generous with our information to our audience. We can share the film with people in a way that says, I just want to leave a mark here so that I can make the world a better place. And that film can be a big blockbuster, or that film can be a small, intimate little piece of work that you made with your friends. But it's important to make sure that we share those things, and that we're fearless to share, and that we place gratitude at the center of everything we do. Gosh, I am so thankful that I get to be a filmmaker today, because I don't know how to pick up a gun, but I know how to pick up a camera. And so I'm so grateful for the skills that I've learned over the years. I'm so grateful for the team members that I have, and the community that we created, and the new friends that I made. These are lifelong things, and that I think if we can bring into our work of being, man, I'm just grateful to be here. Today I get to point cameras at things and tell stories, right? The one thing I realized as a filmmaker is that in order to establish the stakes, the life and death situation, I had to seek discomfort. And so it forced me to have to think on my feet in those moments, and it forced me to use and develop new tools that I now bring back. So seeking that discomfort and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is super important. There is no manual for how to get through this stuff as a filmmaker and as a person going through it, right? And so that discomfort is a teacher. That discomfort provides us lessons. So try to find that moment of discomfort. Try to find that thing that pushes you into a place where you might feel like you were just beamed down to the, surface of a foreign planet somewhere. Because that's definitely the way I felt. I felt like I was on the frickin' moon. So who am I in that moment, and what tools do I need to make sure that I accomplish the task at hand and come out alive? Or in our cases, when we're back here making movies, that I come back not this sort of emotionally wounded human being who has taken everything personally. And next, going to places that are hard to get to, whether it's hard to get into, whether it's hard to reach because it's off the grid. When you can reach that hard to reach place, you end up with a better picture. So taking the easy route and shooting in a parking lot in Van Nuys simply because you can get the scene, sometimes that's the right choice. But you know what? See if you can push that. See if you can push it to a place that's going to bring more drama and bring more knowledge for the audience and sink the audience deeper into our story. So pushing the envelope and going to that hard to reach place, or trying to work with people that are hard to reach and hard to get for your picture. Taking that risk of hearing no. Like, that's super important. We have to push that envelope. We have to make sure that we're always trying to get the best of everything in the given circumstances we have, right? It doesn't mean that, we're gonna have the best equipment. It doesn't mean we're gonna have the best talent. It doesn't mean, but in our given circumstances, what's the best version of it? And seeking that out is really important. And finally, like that little kid that I spoke about at the beginning of this video, build your tribe. Build that group of trusted compatriots, right? The people who are going to go to the wall with you. Be sure that you are surrounded with people that are going to tell you the truth. Be sure that you walk into that circumstance saying, as a director or as a producer, I work for you. They don't work for you. You work for them. Make sure that that community understands that you're there to serve them. Make sure that your work is a mission of service to a small community, a big community, millions of people, tens of people, it doesn't matter. As long as one person walks out changed, that's our job, is to help people transform into a better version of themselves. So build that community, serve that community of people that help you accomplish your vision, and make sure they understand just how grateful you are for them. So I hope this has helped. I hope that this has meant something. These are just the lessons I learned. And if you have lessons you've learned that you think I missed here, please leave them in the comments. I really, really want to hear from you, and I want to share those comments with other people. I will make another video about this. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to click the like button. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. Don't forget to click the notification button so you're notified of upcoming videos. And I can't wait to see you in the next one, and I'm talking to you.